UFC 316 is finally here this Saturday night. It's taking place at the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. And for the second straight year, the UFC returns for a pay-per-view in Brick City. And this time around, it features two more exciting title fights. It's Merab Dvalishvili in the main event, defending his bantamweight 135-pound title against the former bantamweight champion Sugar Sean O'Malley. And this fight is a rematch from their fight back in September of 2024 at Sphere. It was UFC 306, Noche UFC. It was an incredible event. And Merab won the fight in a rather, I wouldn't say it was a super exciting contest. I'll put it that way. And it wasn't the Sugar Sean that we grew to know and love. He just wasn't active from the start of the fight. It seemed like there was something wrong. He revealed later he suffered a torn labrum about 10 weeks before the fight, so it limited his preparation for that contest. But nevertheless, Merab became a champion that night, defended it against Umar Nurmagomedov back in January, and now we have a rematch where we see Sean returning from injury in quite a long layoff, and Merab, who's been rather active, and we will be able to see if Sean could become just a third fighter in bantamweight history to become a two-time champion and join the likes of TJ Dillashaw and Dominic Cruz. Those are the two other guys to do it in UFC Bantamweight Championship history as a two-time champion. And Merab just continues to climb the ranks and continues to become one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, because that's what he is. And he's on a 12-fight winning streak, and if he can get to that 13 mark, that is when you enter historic territory, because there's only 8 guys to have a 13-fight win streak in UFC history, and those guys are Anderson Silva, Islam Makhachev, Kamaru Usman, George St. Pierre, John Jones, Demetrius Johnson, Khabib Nurmagomedov, and Max Holloway. So all first ballot UFC Hall of Famers. Merab is on his way to do that, but before he can get there, he needs to get through Sugar Sean O'Malley, and that's where we come to this Saturday night. Merab enters the bout as a minus 285 favorite. Sean O'Malley's the underdog at plus 230, just like he was in the first fight. I just think these odds are too heavy, and I think they're too big, and I know Sean O'Malley did get dominated a lot in that first fight, but it was closer than people think. Sean, on 2 of the judges' scorecards, it was 48-47. He did win 2 rounds, and it was closer than I think the perception is when you look back at that contest. And also, Sean O'Malley did hurt Merab with a couple big-time shots to the body in that 5th and final round, and I think whether it was because of his injury, whether it was because of the location, the Sphere, with the lighting, supposedly there were complaints about that. I think Sean seems like he's in a better headspace. This is the most kind of humble and locked in version of Sugar Sean O'Malley I think I've ever seen, because he's not on top of the world. He's not defending his title. He's not fighting for a title. He's not the challenger. He's the guy trying to win his belt back, and he knows in order to do that, it's no easy task to get through Merab Dvalishvili, and if he will get past Merab, he needs to bring his absolute best, and maybe the best version that he's ever showed, a better version than he has shown in the past, and I think he can do that, and that is because he is taller by 5 inches. That is because he has a bigger reach advantage, and that's because his power is otherworldly. Sean O'Malley possesses game-changing power, and power that can put anyone's lights out, even the machine, in a split second. And I do think Sean O'Malley, I'll give my pick right here. I think Sean O'Malley is going to win this fight, become a 2-time champion, and reign once again as the UFC Bantamweight Champion of the world. Getting into the co-main event, it's Juliana Pena, who just won her second Bantamweight Championship back in October. On that same night, Kayla Harrison beat Caitlin Vieira. And since Kayla Harrison entered the UFC last year in 2024, it seems like we've been delaying the inevitable, and the inevitable is Kayla Harrison fighting for gold. She will do just that Saturday night, and she enters this contest with only one defeat on her resume against Larissa Pacheco a couple years ago. She's 18-1. As we know, she's a two-time Olympic gold medalist, a two-time PFL champion. She's as decorated as any athlete has ever been in combat sports entering the UFC. That is just a fact. But Juliana Pena showed, especially in that last fight against Amanda Nunes where she lost her title, that she has that warrior mentality. She is tough to break. She is no easy opponent by any means. And even though I do think Kayla Harrison is going to win this fight, I think it's going to get into the championship rounds. And I think Juliana Pena is going to test Kayla Harrison than she ever has. But I think just Kayla Harrison is that special of an athlete and a fighter. I think this is her moment to shine. I think this is her crowning achievement. She's discussed that winning a gold medal was great. Winning this UFC championship is just on a different level and is something that she's dreamed about for a long, long time. I think it's going to come to fruition in this one. I got Kayla Harrison winning. I think that should be a great fight. Two incredible title fights. Going down the rest of this main card, because it is very compelling. Kelvin Gastelum is facing Joe Pyfer. They were supposed to fight a couple months ago, but Joe Pyfer suffered an illness back in Mexico. Was forced to pull out of that. But Joe Pyfer is a minus 380 favorite, which he should be, against Gastelum, who's plus 300. Although he's coming off of a win, it's not the Kelvin Gastelum of old. And although he isn't that old, he's only 33 years old. It just seems like his best days might be behind him, and the opposite is true for Joe Pyfer, because he is one of the best rising prospects in the middleweight division. I think after this fight, he will be ranked. I got Joe Pyfer winning this fight by knockout, which you can get, I'm seeing on DraftKings Sportsbook, at plus 250. So that is good value there. That's a great play. And moving down the rest of the card, we have Merab Bautista, number 10 in the bantamweight division, taking on Patchy No Love Mix, the former two-time bantamweight champion in Bellator. Enters the UFC as also an incredibly hyped prospect at 20-1, and he's been talking all this week that he doesn't think Bautista's on his level, and that he thinks that he is just a step above, and he truly believes that he right now is the best bantamweight in the world. And I really think he will back up each and every word that he said. He's shown it every time that he stepped foot in the cage, that he is a special athlete. As I mentioned, he's 21 with 15 finishes, and he's finished 3 of his last 4 opponents, and a couple of those were former champions in Sergio Pettis and Rafion Stotts. He beat Gucci as well. This guy is tested. He's 31 years old, and although he hasn't fought in over a year, that wasn't his fault by any means. Had a lot to do with the new PFL regime. I mix by finish against Mario Bautista. Rounding out the main card, you have Vicente Luque taking on Kevin Holland, who's a minus 278 favorite. I got Kevin Holland winning this fight. I think he's too big, he's too long and rangy, and he is the younger fighter by 1 year, but it just seems like he's going to be too much to handle. For Luque, he has a 5.5 reach advantage. He's taller by 4 inches. That's the difference to me in that one. But overall, an incredible card for UFC 316. Will Sugar Sean O'Malley regain his championship, or is the era of the machine still underway? And in the co-main event, is it finally Kayla Harrison's crowning achievement where she becomes a UFC champion, or can Juliana Pena deliver another y'all must have forgot moment as a champion, as a big underdog? I can't wait. Thanks everybody for tuning in.